Hey, it's Mark here from Leaf Farm. I was just making a little pruning video, well, because I was out here to start some pruning, and I have this apple tree, and it's a unique situation. This is a tree that has been replanted a couple times, but we're working on salvaging it. Because you pay a lot of money for these trees, and right away, what you can see is the structure of this tree is really heavy on one side. So what am I really trying to do in retraining this tree? This tree is actually, I think, about 7 years old. And what's happened is multiple times it's gotten eaten down by deer. And this was actually planted out on the edge of our property where the deer pressure is heavier. So I actually brought it in, and where a tree like these actually were also planted at the edge of the property, and their trunks are a little thicker because they are a little bit older. They're actually, this one's about 9 years old, and that one's actually also about 7 years old, and then that one's also about 7 years old. And so so these two that I brought up, this one, the first one, has done really well, and this one also had pressure on it, and you can see that we've got the central leader right here that has really come through. And now that central leader wasn't always there. The deer had really eaten this down, just like they had eaten this one down. This one, you can see the gnarliness, especially when you get up close. You can see that the deer had like really eaten and it really struggled to take off. And you can see I had to make some really tough decisions of getting rid of some bigger branches. So what I did was in really forcing it, pruning off and forcing and letting a new bit of growth. A little stick like this that was growing right here, letting one of them grow straight up and to form the new central leader. That's what I had to do with this one. And now we've got a good structure where we're gonna get lower canopies coming through here, and that's what's gonna happen with this one. So with this one, even though it looks like, this one right here is, when I look at the growth of this, I've got one, it's hard to see, but this one right here has the most vigorous upward growth going straight up. Now, yeah, it's not in perfect alignment with the main trunk. That's because over time, things have gotten chewed back and everything. And these aren't growing so vigorously, but this one has been growing vigorously. So what I'm going to do is go with that vigorous growth, because that means that the flow of nutrients up and down must be good enough through that tissue, through that wood tissue, to carry it upward and to keep that upward momentum going. So here's the thing, is that's going to be my new central leader. And what'll end up happening is that I'm going to keep some biomass on this so that it keeps producing leaves and keeps pushing energy up that one. Eventually, a lot of these lower branches, I'm going to have to make some tough decisions, like I did with this one. Getting rid of some bigger branches down below, again, to force the growth upward. So eventually, we will get a good structure with this. This lopsided structure that we see here will eventually give way to a central leader system, where if we look at this one, that's pretty good. And then this one's got a really nice form to it, where we see that central leader going up. And of course, as this grows, I'm going to be opening up this center a little more. And again, making harder decisions to take off some branches. There's a lot of branching down here at the bottom, but that's to allow for lots of leaf growth and everything, lots of photosynthesis in the early part of its life. Remember, we're kind of pruning this for decades worth of production. So these early years are years where we're making some choices to force its growth, to force its development. Yeah, so I think, there's some hope. There's some hope for a tree like this. This also another tree here. This is another one where it may look like an open vase shaped here, but really what I'm doing is I am forcing a new central leader to grow here. This one is, and this one's also lopsided when we look at if that's going to become the central leader for it. There's not a lot of growth on this side. So in the early stages, it's going to be lopsided, but as that central leader takes off and we get more of a canopy, it will become more balanced.